सुनने वालों को सिराज ज़ैदी का बहुत बहुत आदाब, नमस्कार and good afternoon. You're very welcome to the program. You're listening to Siraj Zaidi until 4 o'clock and I shall be with you for the next hour of the clock and I hope you shall be with me as well because as usual there are plenty of things to talk about it. Whether somebody is listening or not, that's up to you. I cannot intervene there. My job is here to broadcast, to digitized my voice, and then I probably leave it to you to analyze, listen, ponder, and react to it, because reaction is also very important. Not as important as, not less important as broadcasting. So anyway, I'm on cyberspace on YouTube as well as on 93.9 Dublin South FM. Indeed, this is Dublin South FM, and this is Charmain Colvin is here with her news item for the week, and what a news she has put together. The delectable Charmain's news is right here for you to consume and to listen to it carefully. Thank you very much, Charmain, for taking the news on, and there you go.
Good afternoon, I'm Charmain Colvin and you are listening to Apna Radio 93.9 Dublin South FM. Here is the latest news update. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and newly elected US President Donald Trump are meeting this week in Washington to discuss the next stages of the US-India strategic partnership and strengthen the strong relationship they have developed since 2017, when they met for their first official appointment. Both leaders have developed a strong rapport over the years, attending high-profile meetings and events such as the massive rallies held in Houston and Ahmedabad. Both also have a common goal, sharing worldviews and politics and a mutual strategic focus on countering China, a concern that has also strengthened the broader US-Indian partnership. Analysts believe Trump could introduce Modi to SpaceX and Tesla chief Elon Musk, which would be mutually beneficial, as Musk is keen to develop his business interests in the Indian market, and Modi is equally keen to scale up India's burgeoning electric vehicle sector, with the opening of a Tesla factory in India. In anticipation of Trump's central economic plan to introduce tariffs, which he believes will boost US manufacturing and protect jobs and grow the economy in general, Modi has already lowered some tariffs, demonstrating a willingness to shore up bilateral relations. Trump, however, may make additional tariff reductions aimed at reducing the US goods and services trade deficit with India that has approached $46 billion in recent years. Returning undocumented Indians back to India from the US is also likely to be on the agenda, as well as oil, which saw India purchasing cheaper oil from Russia after its invasion of the Ukraine, rather than the US, the number one supplier of oil in 2021. Thousands of Indians living in the US are reeling after President Trump's announcement to introduce a rule which would deny automatic US citizenship to children born to temporary foreign workers. Up to now, birthright citizenship has been granted regardless of parents' immigration status. 2 federal judges, however, have blocked the order, which means the ruling cannot take effect until the cases are resolved in court. A higher court, though, could overturn any decision. Some Indians are even considering having early C-sections to ensure their babies are delivered in time to gain US citizenship, which is highly coveted by skilled H-1B visa holders. Indians are the second largest immigration group in the US, with more than 5 million Indians holding non-immigrant visas. If Trump's new ruling is implemented, the Pew Research estimate of 725,000 undocumented Indian immigrants in the US will also be affected. A new report this week by Washington-based research group India Hate Lab shows instances of hate speech against minorities jumped 74% in India in 2024, peaking during the country's national elections. The group documented 1,165 instances last year, noting that Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah were among the most frequent deliverers of hate speech. Muslims were targeted the most, with 98.5% of recorded instances of hate speech directed against them. The report said that most of the events where hate speech occurred were held in states governed by Modi's party or a larger alliance. The BJP has repeatedly been accused of targeting India's minority communities, especially Muslims, which it strongly denies. Modi himself was accused of using diversive rhetoric that attacked Muslims during the heated election campaign last year. In May, India's Election Commission also asked the BJP to remove a social media post that opposition leaders said demonised Muslims. Christians have also been targeted by hate speech, but to a lesser extent than Muslims, the report said. This week sees India's first ever exhibition of Spanish surrealist Salvador Dali in the capital Delhi. Although he never visited India, Dali was fascinated with the country, especially the West's fascination with Indian mysticism in the 60s and 70s. The exhibition will showcase an expansive collection of more than 200 of his original sketches, etchings and watercolour paintings, many which are based on photographs taken by Dali's publisher, 𝐻𝐸 during his trip to India in the 70s. Dali's India work features elephants and temples, but are hard to observe, having been rendered in the artist's trademark surrealist style. In 1967, Dali famously designed a set of whimsical ashtrays for Air India. His requested payment was a baby elephant, which Air India flew to Spain, and where it was kept in a zoo until its death in 2018. Dali had intended to cross the Alps on the elephant, but his wife dissuaded him. And finally, British pop star Ed Sheeran was stopped from busking on the streets of southern Indian city Bengaluru by Indian police on Sunday. Sheeran attempted to surprise fans with a live performance, but police pulled the plug, claiming he did not have a permit. The 4-time Grammy Award winner, who was in between shows in India, said they had been given permission to busk. Sheeran is a popular artist in India and played a sold-out gig in Mumbai last year. So that's all from me. You have been listening to Apna Radio 93.9 Dublin South FM.
Thank you very much indeed, Charmain, for a lovely news item that you have put together. And what a shame that that Ed Sheeran has been stopped. And I saw that clip. Actually, somebody did share it and it got viral very quickly from Bengaluru. I was not expecting that to happen from Bengaluru. Had it been happening in Lucknow and in Uttar Pradesh, I would have believed it. But Bengaluru, being a progressive IT city and a big metropolitan city in India, is behaving like that, and the police behaving like that is abominable, obnoxious, and despicable is the words coming to my mind immediately by stopping. There is a saying in our culture, that these people, particularly these kind of policemen who know nothing about the Western music and Ed Sheeran, they never heard of it. The only thing they can think of and see is the white skin of this guy, British guy, a pop singer who's polluting, so-called, the state of India and Bengaluru and other parts of the country, because they believe that anything which is Western, whether it's music, whether it's movies, which are even the culture, is corrupting the Indian culture. And that's ignorance. And we have, as I said, that if you are playing a flute in front of a buffalo, the buffalo would reply, "Boo." So that's what called "Bhains ke aage been bajana." And that's what exactly it is, because they have no understanding, no appreciation, and nothing whatsoever to stop somebody who's busking as well. Busking on the street gives the music to the passerby or the people who are sort of walking around. And he's doing free free of cost. People who can throw coins, notes, and that's up to them. Anyway, sad state of affair. That's what it is, and it's getting sadder and sadder. Now, looking into before I go into this next important item of Sharad's clip about the Indian economy and Indian progress and things like that, and the policy of education that has been the name, by the journalist and by the people, that how India is actually going and where is it going in the wrong direction and all the rest of it. I would like to play this particular clip But that's something else what I would like to talk about it in a minute. But right now, let's play this. But anyway, let's play this clip anyway, and then see what do you think of it, and then we will talk about that.
You there, second desk, blue jacket. What is your name?
My name is Alexis.
Alexis, please leave my lecture room. I don't want to see you at one of my lectures ever again.
I don't understand.
I am not going to ask a second time. Thank you. Why are there laws? What are laws for? Anyone?
Social order?
To protect a person's personal rights. So that you can rely on the government?
Justice? Thank you. Tell me, was I unfair to your classmate just now? Indeed I was. So, why didn't any of you protest? Why didn't any of you try and stop me? Why didn't you want to prevent this injustice? You see, what you have just learnt, you wouldn't have understood in 1,000 hours of lectures unless you lived it. You didn't say anything because you weren't affected yourself. And this attitude speaks against you and against life. You think it doesn't concern you, so it's none of your business. Well, I'm here to say, if you don't help bring about justice, then one day you too may experience injustice, and there will be nobody there to stand before you. Truth and justice lives through us all, and we must fight for it. Because in life and work, I mean, we often live next to each other, but not with each other. We console ourselves that the problems of others are nothing to do with us, none of our business. And we go home glad at night that we're spared, but it's about standing up for each other. Every day an injustice happens in business, sport, or on the tram. Relying on someone else to take care of it is not good enough. It is our duty to be there for others, to speak up for others when they cannot. I am here to teach you the power of your voice. I want you to learn critical thinking to empower you to stand up for what is right, even if it means going against what everyone else is doing. Let's begin.
Now, that is $1 million clip that has been actually going viral in the world out there. Why? Because this speaks for those people who have no strength to stand for themselves. So therefore, this particular clip is very much on YouTube and going viral because people who are not standing up, and requires what I call it a heart and a courage and really a zeal and power and imagination to stand up. Either you ignore the injustices of the world, which is happening right in front of our eyes, or we stand up against it. But there are consequences for those who wants to stand against that. And that's what the problem is, that either you are bogged down into your own work, career, family, whatever, and you would not stand up. Those who are in the history of stood up against the mighty powers are the one who are still remembers in the history pages and by the people, and people who actually come from that tradition. So there had been a lot of people who come from that. Yes, of course, I'm referring to what's happening in the Middle East, what's happening in the Gaza, the Gaza Riviera talked about it, and, that how the Riviera is going to be constructed by the Trumps and the company and Netanyahu, and there's going to be taken over, and they're not allowing the 2 million people to return back to their land after the ceasefire, after demolishing their houses, hospitals, education institutions, schools and all that. So nothing is there. So he's saying that, it's a rebel site. You can't go back to it. No, they can't go back to it. No, it's not the place. It's a construction site. And because he's a developer, he's a builder by nature, that's what he's talking about. He's talking about independent. There's no... And on top of that, whose money is going to build that? He says that, there's plenty of money in the region, i.e. the Saudi money, the UAE money, and the Qatari money, that he will be using it in order to... So who... the moral of the story of the clip that you've just listened to it is what? You got to stand up to the injustice of the world. Otherwise, it'll carry on. And there's another famous saying that injustice prevails when all good men do nothing. All the good men of the world do nothing. Injustice prevails. So justice is a very clear-cut thing. Either you are against it or you are for it. That's why we believe in a civilized world: liberty, peace, justice, equality. And liberty, peace, justice, equality is the insurance of most of the constitution of the world to ensure the legitimate existence of humanity and human beings in their country. We're fortunate enough to live in a country where these things are practiced, lived, where the courts, where the judges, we are barristers, we have the legal system, which work in tandem with the criminal system, police system, and things like that. And humanity has kept at bay somehow, straight and narrow in a civilized world, in a civilized society. But what's happening right there is that we stood by and watched every single night, and including myself, I'm blaming myself too, that what can I do? I mean, watching a 9 o'clock news, a 6 o'clock news, and watching the bombs dropping to the poor people and obliterating their civilized world, the hospitals, the schools, the housing societies, the infrastructure, the entire infrastructure of the Gaza strips has been, and the West Bank has been eliminated and has been obliterated, and made that piece of land as a construction site with rebel around it. Now, the 2 million people which have been held away from their own homeland are supposed to be going to neighboring Jordan or Egypt. And if you don't take them, you'll be punished. And that's my order, the executive order I have signed. Now, how can you stand up against this kind of bullying thing? Enough noises are being created all around media, all around newspapers, all around the world and my squeaky voice in a tiny space of here on my tiny radio station is just there as well. So what can you do? What is your thinking? My thinking is, do you remember a million people march, Martin Luther King and the Black Movement in America, when a million people, Elijah Muhammad was the guy, which was not Martin Luther King, the other guy, Malcolm X is the name of the guy who created a million people march towards White House, and that has created an effect. See, the mass movement always do arouse people's emotions, those who are conscious. We here in Ireland are, by the way, it's also been considered and talked about it in the media out there, is that Ireland, Malta and Spain, those people who recognise the the state of Palestine can take these 2 million people. Now, hello. This is what we're talking about ethnic cleansing. This is we're talking about genocide. And how can you stomach this entire episode of nonsensical, the morality. That's not the word I'm talking to. The stupidity of the concept of this entire world. Now, and it's not entire world; it's just the most powerful world, so to speak. And nobody is standing up to it. So how can you do a million people march? And who are those million people who are going to be willingly getting up and going over there and marching towards Gaza? Can you imagine? No, I cannot imagine, because it's dangerous. Yes, you will be protecting yourself first before you're going up there. How can you go? There are no ways to get in there except the neighboring Lebanon. That's the idea I would introduce you and tell you to do if you want to do it, but it has to be. Now, the other interesting thing is happening is that Jordan have asked China to intervene. If China can intervene, Russia can intervene, Iran can intervene as a tripod operation, then they would be not daring to do anything like that. Now, these are the three powerful nations on earth at the moment, and their power together, combined. Unfortunately, in the history, no nations have actually cooperated on a large scale for protecting the destitute ever. And so therefore, this is what it is. So if my suggestion is that if these tripod nations, Russia, China, and Iran, can actually go and create a million people march and stop them for building a Riviera, so to speak, and which is a completely imbecilical concept, completely off the wall concept. And just because one person have thought about it, oh, I live in my own world, and my imagination sees that a beautiful Riviera, just like a French Riviera, just like any other Riviera, Spanish Riviera, and I could see that a Gaza Riviera. So if this idiot can actually be stopped somehow, anyway, enough is enough. I don't know the solution. You should know better. You are also equally intelligent, educated, and informed individuals. What I'm going to play is another continent, and I'm going to, before I do that, I might take an ad break. Don't go anywhere, and sit back, relax, and enjoy this particular quick trick ad break, and I'll be back with Sharad's clip.
Your community radio for South Dublin. This is Dublin South FM.
Could you and your dog spend 1 hour per week bringing special moments to people in care centres? Or would you like one of our volunteer visiting teams to come and visit your care centre? At Irish Therapy Dogs, we have a dedicated interest in the use of pet therapy for people in long-term or daily residential care, a professional organisation aimed at providing a pet therapy service on a national basis. If you with your dog would like to get involved, or if you would like one of our visiting teams to visit your care centre, then please call us on 01 544 6198 or visit irishtherapydogs.ie for more information.
Broadcasting to South Dublin on 93.9. This is Dublin South FM.
Good to be here again. Last week was devastating for India. If I look at it, a rich heritage of ancient Indian culture stands wasted. The present is chaotic with visuals of disgrace, and a future that is blinded without vision seems inevitable. Thank you, and today I will paint a picture of India, our new India. Before that, remember that childhood trick where you prepared an essay on cows, but the exam asked you about aeroplanes. So no problem, you started with aeroplanes fly high in the sky. From the sky you can see the cows in the field. Speaking of the cows, and there you go. You start milking that essay on the cow for all it's worth about the topic. This situation seems to have taken over our Prime Minister while addressing the Artificial Intelligence Summit in France. I was listening to this speech, and if I had the authority, I would have fired his speech writers and his advisors on artificial intelligence, AI. These people cannot differentiate between automation and artificial intelligence, let alone understand the challenges of AI presents not only to the world, but to the employment, to the market of India, to India. The entire speech was written and delivered with a 20th century industrialization mindset. It projected India through its Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, in a very poor light, suggesting that India has not fully grasped the concept of artificial intelligence. How shameful. Had this speech been delivered 15 years ago, it might have made sense. But today, it only highlights India's dwindling vision of a futuristic, technology-driven nation. It is quite natural to be in this situation, our Prime Minister to be in situation, because for last 10 years, this government's focus has not been on skill development. It has not been on education or quality of education or, let's say, employment of Indians. Continuing with this leadership debacle, leadership without vision, India is currently wasting its once-in-a-lifetime advantage, a large, energetic youth labor market of India, and enthusiastic Indians, aspirational Indians, as Mr. Modi calls it. India has been blessed with this huge number. If provided with right opportunities, they could significantly contribute to build nation, build India, and the Indian society. Sadly, this government has struggled to provide basic education and skills to match 21st century. Worse still, there seems to be no effort to do the course correction. So that brings me to 2025 budget and the latest economic survey. The education budget has continued to shrink if you look at it. Why? Seemingly because the American model of education is being followed, where individuals must pay for their own education. But then, the New Delhi policymakers fail to understand that America's per capita income is $15,000, whereas India is only poor $2,500, which is about 15% of what the Americans earn. So, there is a severe policy mismatch. If the policymakers are doing a copy-paste of the American, of the British education system, that's being foolish. But then they are doing it. Look at this. The average urban household income is about rupees 7,000, while rural household income barely exceeds 4,000 rupees. Therefore, let the government tell us Indians who can afford private education. So in short, our policymakers are unable to differentiate between the limitations of the Indian education system, the needs of Indian education system, and the American education system. Because of the poor education system, the consequence is on the labor force. So look at the periodic labor force survey. It suggests 3.2% unemployment rate. Very nice. Which, according to any economist, qualifies as full employment. Perfect. The same report also states that the youth unemployment is 10% and the graduate unemployment is 13%. Even the army cannot afford a full-time soldier, so they resorted to 𝐤𝐺𝐸 scheme of 4 years term. All this put together, look at it. This is a textbook case of window dressing, only denying the reality. IITs are unable to ensure full placement of their students, let alone match the graduates with suitable jobs. These super graduates are taking up employment just to avoid being jobless, even if those roles are well below their capacity and capability. How unfortunate. We have been fed on the other side with a grand dream of $5 trillion economy. But then the calculation is that you require 8% annual growth for next 10 years. We are only at 5%, 5.4% last year. Can anyone in the right mind with sound policy making abilities claim that India can sustain 8% growth for next decade with such high unemployment, declining foreign direct investments, poor domestic investments, and low investments in education and health? Do you know how many non-farm jobs India need to create annually to be $5 trillion economy? If it is real economy for people, not in numbers, that would be about 78 lakh jobs per year, 7.8 million per year. And what is India actually achieving? Only a few thousand jobs per year. The government argues that initiatives like Startup India, Digital India are strengthening infrastructure and uplifting the lowest economic strata. But the reality is, the irony is, the same Digital India has failed to improve the condition of those at the bottom. Vendors who once sold their products, vegetables, small items, to do business continue to do the same way. Thela is thela. A small dukan is a small dukan. And now their economic status is deteriorating. That brings me to the question of effectively utilizing India's once-in-a-lifetime demographic dividend, the youth of India. While Prime Minister Modi took a holy dip and spent millions to advertise the Mahakumbh and attract 450 million devotees, the whole spectacle only highlighted India's real capabilities, or rather lack of capabilities. Look at where Indian youth could have been employed, what their capabilities could have used. But then, as the Prime Minister spoke of artificial intelligence in Paris in a poorly structured speech, as I said, back home, millions of Indians were stuck in overcrowded trains, cramped like 18th century cattle, stranded in 300-kilometer long traffic jams for over 30 hours, and dozens dying in stampede, only if official figures are to be believed. So where is India's artificial intelligence capabilities? Where is India's educated youth applying their knowledge? Where is government's organizational competence, despite India being the world's 5th largest economy? Where is the vision for celebrating once-in-a-lifetime Kumbh Mela in a manner befitting a modern nation India, an ancient and a rich culture of Hinduism, a religion that has been so strong for centuries together? No wonder the aspirational Indians, they are either leaving the country legally or illegally, or if they remain so, are getting caught in the whirlpool of nationalism, digging up Hindu culture, trying to discover Hindu culture beneath the mosques, or becoming influencers who ironically contribute to the very Indian culture, the very Sanatan Dharma that this government is fighting for. And surprise, all under the guise of freedom of speech, for which they were rewarded the best national content creator by our leader Mr. Modi. How paradoxical. To sum it all, this government neither has the philosophy nor the rational policy. This government neither has the rational policy nor the ability to govern them effectively. 58% of women are anemic and 28% of children, the future of this country, are stunted. Yet the government continues to slash budget for health and education. Not in this budget. Look at last 3-4 budgets. Please read the finance bill of 2025 and the economic survey of previous years. But for those dreaming of Vishwaguru and Viksit Bharat, they fail to realize that we are already living through nightmare of economic decline and social chaos. We often talk about startup and innovation-driven economy, but let's look at the statistics on research and development. Few episodes earlier I had said research and development and the Indian attitude is the real enemy of India. So look at this. While China spends $500 billion on research and development every year, India spends only 10% of that. China operates approximately 3,600 high-speed trains daily, and they connect 550 cities across 33 provinces in the country. The high-speed rail network spans 40,000 kilometers, and the fleet also has 4,000 Fuxing Ho high-speed train set. How many does India have, and how many has it built for last 10 years? China has already developed AI platform called DeepSeek at a fraction of cost incurred by GPT and the others, while India is still dreaming about creating one. Here's an interesting observation how government envisions Indian youth. Indians develop software for foreign companies, which run on the foreign hardware platforms like iPhone, Airbus, Boeing, Microsoft computers, Google Android tablets, phones, mobile phones. That software and hardware then comes back to India as a product. And we all pay to that foreign company for using our developed software. Probably we do not even have intellectual property rights on that software. In short, we are paying those foreign companies for our own creation. This is the nature of our economics in 21st century. And when you put all this together, there are hardships and challenges that India is facing. Read the 2025 budget and the economic survey. Examine the Modi government's various policy documents and you will find nothing substantial that addresses 21st century challenges. Meanwhile, billions of productive hours continue to be washed away in not so clean waters of Prayagraj. Kumbh and Kumbh Mela had been there for centuries together and has been respectfully symbol of divine faith and Hinduism. But in 2025, the same Mahakumbh has become a marketing gimmick for this government to promote not Hinduism, but a misleading concept of Hindutva, all at the cost of precious time, productivity and lives of us Indians. Why? I leave you with these facts and figures to reflect on the future of this country, the vision being presented to its youth, and the wisdom with which the government is running this nation, all with a question mark. Time to give a disclaimer. All this I've said is in the spirit of being a patriot, a patriotic, secular Indian, and not to hurt any religious sentiments. If it does, it was unintentional. So thank you for your patience and continued feedback. Stay informed and stay safe. See you again next week. Bye for now.
Everything's fine on 93.9 Dublin South FM.
It is great to be on Dublin South 93.9 FM.
Dublin South FM is proud to announce the launch of the Dublin South Podcast Studio. Located in the Dundrum Town Centre, the Dublin South Podcast Studio provides creators and businesses the environment and expertise to produce high-quality podcasts designed to help keep you engaged with your audience. We provide a full podcast production service, including studio recording time, editing, and all post-production requirements. To find out more, please visit our website at www.dublinsouthpodcaststudio.ie or contact us at 01 296 5027. That's 01 296 5027.
Broadcasting to South Dublin on 93.9. This is Dublin South FM.
Indeed. Welcome back to the programme. And that was a very powerful presentation, really coming from the heart, felt by our London correspondent, Sharad Awasthi. And what a beautiful analysis that he has given to the nation that is standing on the brink of ignorance, costing lives of mobs, people. But the nation is happy enough about it. In fact, they're not protesting against it. Nobody is raising voices. Nobody is, this kind of analysis that Sharad has put together, it should be coming from the public out there. But public is not making outrageous noises because they are quite happy. Just to tell you, in our film industry, the entire film industry is also taking a holy dip, and those who are actually doing a cross-faith marriages, particularly Huma Qureshi marrying to an Sanatha Dharm guy, I don't know his name, and many other people are, of course, people like devotees like Pankaj Tripathi and his wife and a family and all the rest of it. And of course, Anupam Kher and all these guys who are die-hard Hindutva stars would go and do the dubki and would do what is trendy right now to do the Mahakumbh, washing their sins, so to speak, in the Mela, in the Mahakumbh Mela. But anyway, enough is enough. I cannot waste time without playing songs. And indeed, I have lined up pretty much, there's a few things that I would like to talk about later on, but particularly right now, I'm in the mood to play lovely songs to wash up all the heavy stuff that we've been talking about it right now. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this particular track.
मन क्यों बहका रे बहका मन क्यों बहका रे बहका आधी रात को बेला महका हो बेला महका रे महका आधी रात को हो मन क्यों बहका रे बहका आधी रात को बेला महका रे महका आधी रात को किसने बंसी जिसने पलकें चुराई आधी रात को, मन क्यों बहका आधी रात को, बेला महका आधी रात को। झांझर झमके सुन झमके हो, झांझर झमके सुन झमके, झांझर झमके सुन झमके आधी रात को। उसको टोको न रोको, रोको न टोको, टोको न रोको आधी रात को। सिंदूर के सो आधी रात को, बेला महकारी महका आधी रात को, मन क्यों बहका आधी रात को, बेला महकारी महका आधी रात को। चांद आँखों में आया आधी रात को, बेला महकारी महका आधी रात को, मन क्यों बहका आधी रात को, बेला महकारी महका आधी रात को। रात गुनती रहेगी आधी बात को, आधी बातों की पीर आधी रात को, रात गुनती रहेगी आधी बात को, आधी बातों की पीर आधी रात को, बात पूरी हो कैसे आधी रात को, रात होती हो रात होती शुरू है आधी रात को, मन क्यों बहका आधी रात को, बेला महकारी महका आधी रात को, मन क्यों बहका
नमस्कार, मैं दीपक शर्मा और मेरी मीटिंग
तुमसे मिलकर ना जाने क्यों, तुमसे मिलकर ना जाने क्यों और भी कुछ याद आता है, याद आता है।
तुमसे मिलकर ना जाने क्यों, तुमसे मिलकर ना जाने क्यों और भी कुछ याद आता है, याद आता है।
आज का अपना प्यार नहीं है,
आज का अपना प्यार नहीं है।
जन्मों का ये नाता है, ये नाता है। तुमसे मिलकर ना जाने क्यों,
तुमसे मिलकर ना जाने क्यों।
That is obviously the world of music and Bollywood songs, and indeed Indian film industry has got its own pace and vision and place in the world, and I will keep it alive because that's where my heart lies. And I'm working on obviously the next phase of my 16th edition of the Indian Film Festival of Ireland, and indeed it will happen in September, hopefully. But before that, I will continue the songs, and I'll particularly play more songs. I've got a fantastic input from a lovely guy called Deepak Sharma. Now, Deepak Sharma is a blogger, a video YouTuber and all that, and he had put together an analysis of another interesting development that you must be following, the Delhi election, the regional election of a state election of Delhi, which he put together analysis, and I would like you to get his view, and particularly he sent me kindly his view, and he said that you're free to play it on your program. So there we go. And the deal supposed to be, the gist of this clip is that Arvind Kejriwal of Aap Party lost election in the Delhi state election, and the BJP had a landslide victory. How? And without any involvement of Congress party at all. So that how it happened and why it happened, here we go. Sit back, relax and listen to this.
मंच पर आपका स्वागत। दोस्तों, जिंदगी में कभी कभी कोई डील बड़ी महंगी पड़ जाती है, और एक ऐसी ही डील केजरीवाल को इतनी महंगी पड़ी कि सत्ता हाथ से चली गई। अब इस डील पर तो खुलासा मैं आगे करूंगा, लेकिन आज की ताज़ा खबर पर पहले बात कर लें। और ताज़ा खबर यह है कि अगर यही आंकड़े रहते, अगर यही नतीजे दिल्ली के रहते, यानी 48 सीटें बीजेपी की जिसकी सरकार बन रही है और आम आदमी पार्टी की 22 सीटों पर भी, जी हां 22 सीटों पर भी अरविंद केजरीवाल मुख्यमंत्री बनते, अपना चुनाव भी जीतते और आम आदमी पार्टी की सरकार बनती। 22 सीटों पर भी। चौंकिए मत, मैं जो कुछ बोल रहा हूं आंकड़ों के आधार पर बोल रहा हूं। बस यहां पर एक शर्त है, और शर्त यह है कि अगर केजरीवाल ने समय रहते कांग्रेस के साथ हाथ मिलाया होता, गठबंधन किया होता, तो उनको आज जो नतीजे आए हैं, मैं नतीजों की बात कर रहा हूं, जिस तरह की वोटिंग हुई है, काउंटिंग हुई है, आंकड़ों के आधार पर कह रहा हूं कि 14 सीटें और मिलती उनको, और उनका स्कोर 22 + 14 36 होता, और 36 बहुमत का आंकड़ा है। यानी बीजेपी 48 की जगह उसको 34 सीटें मिलती, और ये प्योर एंड प्योर डेटा के बेस पर मैं कह रहा हूं। अब दोस्तों, अगर अपनी स्क्रीन पर आप ये मैप देखें, दिल्ली का मैप है, कंस्टिट्यूंसी वाइज है, सीट वाइज मैप है। ये जो रेड कलर की सीट्स हैं, तकरीबन 14 सीटें, और ये 14 सीटों में अगर आप कांग्रेस और आम आदमी पार्टी इन दोनों का वोट जोड़ते हैं तो 14 सीटें आम आदमी पार्टी आज जीत जाती। जितना भी वोट शेयर है उसके आधार पर मैं कह रहा हूं कि 14 सीटें आम आदमी पार्टी के खाते में जाती। 22 सीट वो जीत चुकी है, 14 और जुड़ती, स्कोर 36 होता। मिसाल के तौर पर अगर आप नई दिल्ली की सीट देखें जहां से केजरीवाल हारे हैं, यहां पर केजरीवाल तकरीबन 4089 वोट से हारे हैं। अगर संदीप दीक्षित जो कांग्रेस के कैंडिडेट हैं, अगर इनका वोट अगर आप जोड़ दीजिए, यानी इनको 4568 वोट मिले, तो आसानी से केजरीवाल अपने राइवल परवेश वर्मा, बीजेपी के परवेश वर्मा को हरा देते और केजरीवाल भी जीत जाते। अब कुछ ऐसी ही कहानी मनीष सिसोदिया की भी है। मनीष सिसोदिया जंगपुरा से लड़ रहे थे, 675 से हारे हैं। अगर फरहाद सूरी जो कांग्रेस के कैंडिडेट हैं, जिनको तकरीबन 7000 से ज़्यादा वोट मिले, अगर फरहाद सूरी और मनीष सिसोदिया इन दोनों वोट्स को आप क्लब कर दीजिए तो तरविंदर सिंह मारवा जो बीजेपी से जीते हैं, मनीष सिसोदिया को हराया है, बीजेपी यहाँ हारती, मनीष सिसोदिया जीतते। जी हाँ, शर्त वही थी, गठबंधन अलायंस होता आम आदमी पार्टी और कांग्रेस का, ये तभी मुमकिन था। अब दोस्तों एग्जाम्पल तो कई हैं, लेकिन एक और एग्जाम्पल देख लेते हैं। बड़ी हाई प्रोफाइल सीट है, ग्रेटर कैलाश, दिल्ली का पॉश एरिया है, जहां से सौरभ भारद्वाज वीआईपी कैंडिडेट है, मिनिस्टर, आम आदमी पार्टी के स्पोक्स पर्सन, और अरविंद केजरीवाल और मनीष सिसोदिया के आप कह सकते हैं राइट हैंड मैन। भारद्वाज साहब भी 3000 के आसपास वोटों से हारे, और अगर यहाँ पर कांग्रेस को जो वोट मिले 6711, अगर ये वोट आप भारद्वाज साहब के खाते में डाल दीजिए तो भारद्वाज साहब ने आज आसानी से बीजेपी को हरा दिया होता, शिकस्त दे दी होती। एक ही शर्त थी कि गठबंधन होता कांग्रेस और आम आदमी पार्टी का। अब मुझे लगता है कि कई ऐसी सीटें हैं, 13-14 सीटें हैं, आप चाहें तो देखते चले जाएं। हर सीट को डिस्कस करना, उसके आंकड़े बताने में बहुत समय ज़ाया हो जाएगा। लब्बो-लुआब ये है कि ये 14 सीटें सीधे आम आदमी पार्टी के खाते में जाती है, इंडिया अलायंस के खाते में जाती, और जो टैली होती 22 + 14 36 होती। 36 ही मेजॉरिटी मार्क है, इत्तेफाक है। अब ये जो आंकड़े हैं, यहाँ पर सिर्फ एक क्लैरिफिकेशन देना चाहूँगा, ये डेटा 6 बजे का है, तो हो सकता है एक आध सीटों में कुछ आंकड़ा थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट हो। अब दोस्तों मैप भी आपने देख लिया और डेटा भी देख लिया और कहानी भी समझ ली 14 सीटों की, लेकिन इस कहानी का एक दूसरा पहलू है, और वो पहलू ज़्यादा अहम है। और वो पहलू ये है, या यूँ कहें सच्चाई ये है कि एक समय था जब राहुल गांधी और मल्लिकार्जुन खड़गे, कांग्रेस चाहती थी कि दिल्ली में समझौता हो जाए, जिस तरह से समझौता आम आदमी पार्टी के साथ लोकसभा में हुआ, उसी तर्ज पर एक समझौता वो दिल्ली में भी हो जाए। हालांकि कांग्रेस में एक लॉबी थी, अजय माकन की लॉबी थी, देवेंद्र यादव जो आप कह सकते हैं इस वक्त प्रदेश अध्यक्ष हैं दिल्ली कांग्रेस के, वो एक लॉबी थी जो इंडिपेंडेंट लड़ना चाहती थी। उनको लगता था कि अगर
Now, you got it now, because his clip is pretty long actually. It's nearly halfway through, and he's going to go on and on and on, giving a analysis. And what I'll just brief you in English, because obviously he was talking in Hindi and he was talking about the statistics of the politics behind the Arvind Kejriwal. But brief, and the gist of that is that Arvind Kejriwal was being briefed while he was in jail. Now that is a blatant violation of human right. That while he was put in jail, in Tihar jail in Delhi, and he was being given a bail, it was told, he was told by the BJP that you are coming out on a condition that you would not shake hands with the Congress party and with Rahul Gandhi. Distance yourself with Rahul Gandhi. Don't club with him, because they knew that had he clubbed with Rahul Gandhi, he would have been a clear winner of the Delhi election and was able to form the alliance. So, this is India. That is a dirty politics. That is, I don't know what's going on in Rahul Gandhi's mind, and what's happening in Arvind Kejriwal is just a history now, because he's gone from Delhi, and Manish Sisodia, his right-hand man, and all that they have created in Delhi. As a matter of fact, they have not been able to progress drastically in their power, and they did miracles, should I say, when they were in power. So there you go. They lost it. I mean, and because they lost it, because they were told not to shake hands with that. Otherwise, few seats from Congress would have been on their side, and they would have been able to actually had. So in politics, sometimes you have to use your brains to, if you have conviction to win. But if you're not conviction to win, then you sit back and you compromise, as other Kejriwal did. Anyway, this is the time to go and say goodbye to you. And I hope you liked the show today, because it was an unusual show with high power, high voltage information, plus some soothing songs and all that, and particularly the analysis and all that. So keep tuning 93.9 Dublin South FM every Thursday from 3 to 4 o'clock, and indeed in India times 7:30 or 8 o'clock, whatever the time is over there, 5-hour difference to it. And I shall be entertaining you and informing you what's going on in the world, in your part of the world, and particularly around the world. So thank you very much for listening. Bye for now.
अब जाहिर तौर पर जब केजरीवाल साहब जेल में बाहर आए,
उस मोड़ से भी हम गुजरे हैं जिस मोड़ पे सब लुट जाता है
तुमसे मिलकर ना जाने क्यों, तुमसे मिलकर ना जाने क्यों, और भी कुछ याद आता है तुमसे मिलकर ना जाने क्यों,
तुमसे मिल